that, as anybody who has watched me for the past year knows, I am no fan of Milo.
A few days ago, Ben Shapiro provided a speech at University of California at Santa Barbara, and the link to the full lecture, which is I think over an hour and a half, is in the description. But during the question period, Ben Shapiro makes a few comments about Milo and what Milo has just recently gone through with his press conference. And they're pretty critical comments, but I also think excellent and needed. And I think a lot of people, a lot of conservatives and Republicans are torn now about what to do with Milo because of the comments he's made, really hitting a nerve with the right wing. But at the same time, I think it's provided a chance to reflect on the tactics of Milo. Ben Shapiro was an excellent person to be commenting on this because some of the heat from Milo had been attacking Ben Shapiro. So I think some people now that are watching how things are going in the United States are finding that Trump and Milo have been an overextension. They are beyond what we really needed to defeat Hillary Clinton and a power grab for a third-term Democrat. And they have risen by our want of revenge over the weakness of the last 8 years of Obama. That is clear. And there's an excellent quote from Victor Davis Hanson. If you don't know who that is, he is an excellent ancient Greek historian and war historian. And his lectures are amazing to listen to. And he, I don't know where it's from, but he said that in commenting on what's been going on, he said that if Obama is Dr. Frankenstein, Trump is his monster. And for those who may not know, everyone likes to say that Frankenstein is the monster, but actually Frankenstein is the doctor who creates what is only known as the monster in the novel. So then the monster with the plugs in his neck and stuff, that's just called the monster in the book. So if Obama is Dr. Frankenstein, the doctor, the evil doctor, his monster was Trump. And I think that is undeniable. The weakness of the last 8 years has created this overextended Republican, someone we didn't need. Perhaps we could have had a more moderate Republican. And so, but where will the tactics of Milo and others like him end? For many, Milo was a guilty pleasure. We loved seeing the left lambasted, destroyed in argument, ridiculed, condemned. But what are we left with? We still want a country, don't we? I also think most people who enjoy Milo, and I'm surely a fan and thought his press conference was successful in damage control, still would rather be on the side of Ben Shapiro, who lights the way with reason and facts, than with Milo, who basically burns and pillages on the way. So perhaps you can tell me in the comments, and now I'll show the Shapiro clip. What do you think Milo will do now? And will he run he mentioned in his press conference that he might start his own news show. It sounded like something that Ben Shapiro is doing now, his Daily Wire thing, but will Milo be able to do that? Because Breitbart, he's resigned from Breitbart. Breitbart is going to decline. Who's on Breitbart now? They don't have any famous names on Breitbart now, so I don't know what they're going to do. That was a silly move, I think, by Breitbart if they asked him to resign, because now Breitbart's going to decline. I don't know why they would possibly gain from this. But what will Milo do now? Because he's basically damaged, and he did some decent damage control at the press conference, but what does he do now? So anyways, here's Ben Shapiro's very good comments on Milo and what's been going on with that.
That, as anybody who has watched me for the past year knows, I am no fan of Milo's. I have not been a fan of Milo's. I find Milo appalling, and I have for well over a year. I've stayed silent on this latest stuff because, honestly, you don't kick a guy while he's down. But the fact is that Milo, what's happened with Milo actually says less about Milo than it does about the conservative movement that I find troubling, right? I think that, just to give you a few examples of stuff that Milo's done over the past year, in a few weeks ago, he suggested to a Muslim girl in an audience that she shouldn't be wearing a hijab in America. As a guy who wears a funny hat every day of the week, I think that's awful, right? Milo's somebody who said that he called a Jewish journalist from BuzzFeed a thick as, what was it? It was a typical example of a sort of thick as pig shit media Jew. Right, Milo, on the day of my child's birth, sent me a meme of a black baby suggesting my kid was half black because I'm a cuck, because I'm not sufficiently supportive of Donald Trump. He's talked about how the alt-right is this wondrous milieu of intellectual decency and honesty, full of brilliant people, while openly acknowledging that the alt-right actually says that Western civilization and ethnicity are inherently connected, right? He did all of this before all this stuff came down. So my only disappointment on all of this stuff is that, I think that conservatives should have said this is all bad stuff a long time ago. I don't think that it should have taken tape of Yiannopoulos saying that 30-year-olds having sex with 13-year-olds is great in order for people to say this was not great stuff. So if the only standard on the right is, we'll accept anyone who pisses off the left, our only standard is you can't say that it's good for 30-year-olds to have sex with 13-year-olds, I think we can have a little bit higher standards.
Thank you.